Complex issues are deeper issues because they're emotional problems. These are the issues that show up as anxiety problems and panic attacks and anger issues and unresolved grief and physical symptoms. Physical symptoms that don't respond to medical treatment are not surface issues. They're deeper problems that often have their roots in unresolved emotions. And it's because a physical symptom is never the first symptom. Usually it's not until the problem has been around for a while that physical symptoms start to show up. And by then the problem has been around for too long. It's had time to grow and fester, and eventually the internal pressure, trapped inside at a subconscious level of mind, it needs to find a way to express, and it does that through the body. Emotional problems don't respond to medical treatment because medical treatment doesn't address the underlying cause. It only treats the symptoms. And the only tools available to a medical practitioner are chemical therapies and surgery. That's it. You can't amputate an emotion. And chemicals only suppress the symptoms, so they only work for a while because the problem is still there. So sooner or later the patient is going to need a stronger pill, and it's because the pressure is still building up inside. And this is why these folks eventually find their way to your doorstep. But by the time they find you, they're desperate. They've tried everything else, nothing has worked, and they're developing more and more uncomfortable symptoms. And this is because feelings trapped inside strive for recognition. Feelings need to be acknowledged and validated and released. But the underlying uncomfortable feelings that are responsible for generating physical symptoms have their roots in the past. They often have to do with traumatic memories from childhood. And when the problem has been around for a while, there can be multiple events and multiple aspects, all contributing to a single problem. And most of the time, a single session isn't going to get the job done. Sure, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you just nail it in that first session, but I wouldn't count on it. When you're dealing with an emotional issue, the client is naturally going to be resistant to feeling their feelings, and that can burn up a lot of your session time. Those feelings don't feel good, and that's the main problem. When it comes to emotional issues, the problem is always one of avoidance. So the primary function of regression to cause hypnosis is to put an end to the avoidance. It's to make it safe enough for the client to heal how they feel, and this involves an interactive process. Regression hypnosis is a process of interacting with the emotional part of the mind, and it's because it takes consciousness to heal consciousness. So think of it as facilitated self-healing. The client is not passive, they're not unconscious, and they're not merely relaxing while you do all the work. They need to be an active participant in their own healing because it's their mind. So regression hypnosis is a client-centered approach rather than a technique-based approach. To make a living, you need both. You need both approaches because some clients are going to come to you with simple issues and some are going to need help with deeper issues, and they require very different approaches. Simple issues are surface issues. They're relatively easy to resolve because they don't have a lot of moving parts. So these are the issues that respond well to simple techniques like direct suggestion and imagery. And they can often be resolved in just 1 or 2 sessions. So some examples of simple issues are things like, improving a skill like academic or sports improvement, or symptoms management like stress management or pain management are simple issues. And simple behavioral tweaks, simple habit control, it can often be resolved with a simple technique. The kinds of issues that don't respond well to surface techniques are things like persistent problems that haven't responded to other treatments, or chronic conditions that have a long history with the client. So, they've had time to build up all that internal pressure inside. Destructive or addictive behaviors that developed over time, these often have their roots in identity. So that's not a quick fix. And issues involving complexity, for example, syndromes, which aren't just one thing. They've got a lot of moving parts to them. So if you're dealing with a deeper issue, the client is going to need multiple sessions to get a complete resolution of the problem. These issues require deeper techniques like age regression and parts work and forgiveness work. And these processes take time because they require the client's participation, and you can't do it for them. So some clients are simply going to need more time to allow the healing to happen.